Okay, so I did an initial video when we purchased the Subaru, and this is going to be the 8,000 mile update. It's got about 8,500 miles on it. A road trip from Texas up to New Jersey and back, and quite a few highway drives. A little bit of off-roading, but more highway than anything. This is going to be more of like a pros and cons of what I like so far and what I don't like. So to start with the likes, one thing I do like is the fuel mileage. Getting about 33 miles to the gallon. This does have the smaller engine. This is the 2.0, which some feel is underpowered. I feel like it's perfect. The one thing that doesn't match up with it really well is the CVT transmission. So you'll get to some points, like if you stop at a light and you're initially taking off, and the CVT is just kind of clunky. The motor has the power, the transmission is just not good at putting it to the wheel sometimes. As far as highway, no problems there. Like I said, the mileage is very good, and then it's very smooth on the highway. 85 miles an hour is no problem. So the fuel mileage and the motor, to me, is a pro. One of the cons is going to be the transmission. Like I said, it's pretty clunky. I just feel like it's something they haven't figured out with this. My wife did test drive the one with the bigger motor, and she said that the transmission felt a lot better. So I don't know if it's that transmission is meshed up better with that motor, it drives a lot better because of that. But the bigger motor and the transmission seem to be more smooth when you're driving. So another thing I really like about the Subaru, and like I said, this is about 8,400 and so miles, almost 8,500. And taking a road trip, is this thing has a lot of room in it. For a smaller car, basically like a smaller station wagon, it's pretty dirty right now because obviously we take the kids and then the dogs, but it's got quite a bit of room. So we took a road trip and we had 3 kids and we had 2 dogs at one point in the car, and it was very comfortable driving around. So as far as room in the cabin and like the feel of driving, I'm 6'2", and I have no problem, like as far as comfort wise, driving this thing. I think it's very comfortable, very spacious, and has plenty of room for someone my size in it. So another pro is definitely going to be the ground clearance, which all Subarus have great ground clearance. But coming from a Honda Civic, which was a great car, it was a sport model, but it was very low, completely different suspension setup, and you constantly had to slow down when you were going over bumps or going through like certain areas. With Subaru, like, you really don't have to worry about that. You can pretty much maintain speed, hit some bumps, and you never have to worry about bottoming out or anything like that because it's got just enough ground clearance for a stock kind of vehicle. I do plan on lifting this and adding tires, but as it sits from the factory, it does ride really well with a higher ground clearance. It doesn't have a lot of sway on the highway, and like I said, it just handles very well overall for the design like that they have on it right now. All right, so the remainder of the video is going to be in the car, and these are more love-hate relationships than I would say cons, because when they work, it's very, very nice, and it helps out a lot, and it's very functional. But when they have problems or they don't work, it's exactly that. It's just a problem. So that is going to be the entertainment system up here. It has the connect with your phone, where basically your phone pops up here, and when it works very well. It syncs very good. But in 8,000 miles, we probably had it to where 5 or 6 times this is freezed up and done nothing. Like, you can't touch any buttons, it don't work. You unplug your phone, it doesn't work. It doesn't flip over to the radio. It literally does nothing. You have to turn it all the way off, leave it off for about 3 to 5 minutes, and then turn it back on. I'm not sure if that's a software problem or if that's just a problem with this system in general, like if any more people are having this problem. But that's definitely been a problem we've seen. And like I said, when it works great. When it messes up all the way to where you have to turn it off. All right, and the last 2 things, I'm just gonna put them together. I wouldn't really call this a love-hate because I always turn this off when I get in the car, and that's the little auto start. So basically, like when you stop at a light and it's trying to save fuel, it shuts off your motor. It gets on my nerves. Like, I'm at the point now where when I get in the car, I automatically turn this off, because if I forget about it and I go to a light and then it shuts off, it just makes me angry. I'm not sure how much fuel you would actually save by stopping at a light, turn off your motor, starting it back up, And then a stop sign, same thing. I'm not sure if you're really going to save all that much fuel by leaving that on. And to me, it's just more wear on the motor having to start and stop. So I leave it off, and I've never actually used it for like a extended amount of period of time. I've only used it on accident when I forgot to hit the button, but I'm pretty good now. When I get in the car, I make sure I turn it on. And then the last thing is the Eyesight, which is up here. And these sensors right here, when they work, which is every time, but when it rains, if it rains hard, it just shuts off, which is, I mean, it makes sense. It's on your windshield. But it stops working, which is not a huge issue. But the Civic had the same thing, and it never stopped working, no matter how the weather was outside, whether it was fog, whether it was rain, snow. It always worked for some reason. The Subarus, when it rains hard, it shuts off, which, like I said, that is a love-hate thing, because when the weather's clear and you're driving and someone cuts you off, it automatically slows down for you, which is very nice. Because like in this area we're in right now, which is Dallas-Fort Worth, people have no problem cutting you off, you know, when you're just driving at 60, 70 miles an hour. They just swing right over and slow down. So it's nice that the car reacts to it and it kind of slows you down a little bit. Also, like for the long road trip we took, the adaptive cruise control is very nice, because you can set it at 75, and unless there's a car, you set your links on how far you want it set out. But I usually do 2 to 3 links for cars, and you pretty much don't have to touch the throttle or the gas. It will maintain and keep you within that speed and keep you a safe distance away from cars, which is very nice. So saying all that, overall, we really like the car. And this is my wife's car, but we end up both riding it together a lot. So this is our main vehicle we take to work. We're in the same place, so we drive this car everywhere we go. And overall, it's a very good vehicle. Great on fuel. Like I said, it has enough power. The biggest thing we don't like is the transmission, the CVT transmission. That has been the biggest complaint, especially of me. Because like I hate the way it shifts sometimes. I hate the way it lags when it takes off, because it's not every time, it's just sometimes. So like I said, you'll get to that light and you'll take off and it'll be perfectly fine, plenty of power. And then you'll get to the light sometimes and it'll have that funky takeoff, because the transmission is trying to, I guess, figure out what it's trying to do, and it lags, and you're just basically like moseying on and up, trying to gain RPMs to catch up to speed. But overall, the Subaru has been great. I hope they come out with the update for the transmission, and as well as the software. I think if they did those 2 updates, there probably is no more complaints to the car, because I'm guessing that's what the problem with the transmission is going to be software. But overall, the car has been great. Like I said, to sum it up, if you want a car that's great on fuel, has lots of room, great ground clearance, and then at a cheaper price point, this model's like $26,000, which today it's hard to find a car for $26,000 that has everything as far as like Eyesight, the full function, ground clearance, plenty of room, and reliable. So in that aspect, this car is great. So like I said, if you're looking for a car that hits all those points, then this is probably going to be a good car for you. Hopefully by the time you get it, or in 2022, they fix some of the CVT issues and just the lagginess to it. And then I think it'd be a perfect car from that standpoint. So I know this is a longer video, but if someone is looking to purchase a Subaru, like a Crosstrek, I feel like some of the stuff I brought up will help them and identify like some of the things that I've found, because this is our first Subaru as well. So hopefully it'll help somebody before they even buy it. They'll notice it when they're test driving it, and it'd be something they can look for, or they'll know that that's going to happen after they buy it. So they also know, like I said from the video, I gave a lot of pros. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions about the 2021 Subaru Crosstrek, this is the 2-liter model with the premium package inside. Just drop a question and I'll answer it the best I can. And like I said, just hope this helps.